Hey guys, we're Mel today. So in today's video, I'll be giving you guys my Six Nations prediction for 2023. Before we do so, definitely click that like button, guys, and definitely subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate that. But anyway, let's just get straight into this. So of course, as you can see, we do have a tier list right here. We'll be ranking these teams from champion to runners up to average, just not your year. And again, we just bottled it. So we'll see if which team I guess fits within these slots, and we'll definitely put each one of these, at least one nation within each slot. So be warned that your nation may be within the bottle of it, but we'll have to wait and see. But we'll start with England. England just are in a very interesting situation, I'd say, at the moment. Obviously under new head coach Steve Borthwick, they'll be under new instructions, and maybe a lot of players might be moved around in terms of the starting lineup. I mean, look, when you look at the injury front to start off, I mean, they have a lot of injuries, actually. And I'd say they probably have the most injuries that could affect their starting lineup, if I have to say so, because they do have, Elliot Daly out, they have, Tom Curry out, they have Luke Cowan-Dickie, they also have Courtney Laws, so there's some big players there who could obviously, I believe, could have fit within that starting lineup, but obviously won't be unavailable. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens on that front. Again, they could come back within the Six Nations, but just within a period of time, or some of them may just be fully out. So, it's a tough blow, really, for Steve Borthwick, because, you kind of want to, I guess, figure out, what's your best side. So, with all these injuries, it's going to kind of prevent him from doing that, in my opinion. So, and look, when you look at their schedule, however, I actually do think England have a very favorable schedule, if I have to say so, because they do face Scotland at the start, and they then face Italy. But then they do go to Wales, and then they face France at home, and then they go to Ireland. So I'd say it's a pretty favorable schedule. I mean, look, they have a two, I'd say, easier fixtures, to say the least, with Scotland and Italy, notably for England, because they kind of want to start off there, I'd say. But then they're going to have to face Wales away, and that's a pretty difficult fixture, knowing the past in terms of that history in that sense, and the results Wales have had over England, and the same can be said for Scotland, by the way, as well. But when it comes to Ireland and France, though, that's going to be probably the two most challenging, I'd say, games. I mean, look, you're facing France at home, so that's definitely a favorable game for England, but you're facing Ireland away, which could be very difficult. But look, if I had to say one watch player for England, I mean, I'm going to have to say Marcus Smith. I just think he's the guy for England at the moment. I mean, look, he's been just put into the system. Obviously, I think he started it was in 2021 was his first year for England. I could be wrong with that, but I believe it was 2021. So again, he's still getting used to kind of the side at the moment, and obviously under the new head coach, a lot of tactics may switch. But I do believe he'll be the impact player essentially for England. And if they want to drive towards a Six Nations trophy, he's going to be the guy leading towards that. So, it should be interesting to see what happens. But, look, if I had to be completely honest, if I had to rank where England will go, I'd probably say they'll be average, I'd say, for this year. So I'm going to say they're going to be, between third and fourth. Because I just don't think they're going to be ahead of two other sides, in my opinion. I think we know the two sides I'm thinking of. But, I'm going to say average. I think that's pretty fair reflection for England. Definitely under, Steve Borthwick's first time in the Six Nations. So I think that's a very, very fair assessment, if I have to say it. But anyway, we'll move on towards the next nation, of course, that is Scotland. Scotland, again, a very interesting situation at the moment. I mean, they have a few injured players themselves, not as much as England, but they do have a few injured players in terms of, Adam Hastings. But the main one, and they do have Cummins as well. But I think the main one is definitely Darcy Graham, because he was just insane for Scotland, I'd say, within 2022. And I know he has a bit of an injured moment, and the reports say that he was going to be back within February, but it doesn't specify when. So if I had to make a rough prediction, I'm going to say he'll be back after round 2, most likely. So he will miss the first 2 rounds, in my opinion. So that's a big blow for Scotland, because he's definitely a crucial player for them. But when you look at the one-to-watch player, I'd say for Scotland, I mean, you have to say Van der Merwe, maybe. I mean, he's just such a great player for them, Dwan Van der Merwe. I mean, you do have Finn Russell. I mean, Finn Russell you can't go wrong with, but Ali Price. I like Ali Price a lot, actually, for Scotland. He just kind of what's the word? The game kind of runs for him, I'd say. So I'm actually going to say Ali Price is my one-to-watch player, I'd say, for Scotland. Again, there's a lot of notable players they have, but I'm going to say Ali Price, because I just think that they use scrum half a lot in terms of their system. So I'm going to say Ali Price is the guy you should be watching out for. But again, you do have, I believe, Ben Healy, of course, now available for Scotland, who I did mention in the previous video. Definitely check that out. But yeah, he's obviously one of the new players kind of using that eligibility system now that World Rugby have implemented. And he's now switched his alliance from Ireland, obviously, towards Scotland. So I believe he will be playing for Edinburgh next season. But for the time being, he's obviously playing for Munster. But still, it'd be cool to see him represent for Scotland. So yeah, excited to see how he gets along. But and definitely good competition for Finn Russell there, by the way, because he can obviously play as fly half. But again, maybe he can start within that 15th slot. You never know. But again, you do have Stuart Hogg there, so it's gonna be pretty difficult. But man, Stuart Hogg is. I wonder what's happening with Stuart Hogg at the moment. Is Stuart Hogg still injured? I don't think he's injured, if I'm not mistaken, guys, because I think he's in a good place at the moment. But I believe he's not injured. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, in the comments. But look, if I could kind of give an honest prediction of where I think Scotland will finish, I don't think they'll have. I mean, I think they'll have a good year. But the thing is that, like, do I think they'll be in the same place as what England is in terms of average, or do I think like it's just not their year? Because I think England, Scotland, and definitely Wales, who we'll get into next, are kind of in the same category, but I have to be fair in terms of who I believe who will do it. This is really hard. I mean, look, when you look at Wales, I'm just trying to think of the fixture list as well, because when you look at Scotland, they do play England away to start off with, and then they play Wales at home, so that's a good one for them. They play France away, play Ireland at home, and then obviously they do play Italy at home. You know what? I'm actually going to say Scotland will finish within the same. I'm going to put them within that same category as England. I think that's pretty fair to say. I think they have a good, favourable fixture list, if I had to say so myself. So I'm going to say Scotland will be third or fourth within the Six Nations. And again, we'll move on straight towards Wales. Wales in a very interesting situation at the moment, of course, under new head coach. Well, you could say previous head coach, Warren Gatland. So very excited to see him get along there, of course. I mean, it was kind of weird to see him within, him helping out the Chiefs. It didn't feel right. So I kind of felt that he needed to be back on the international scene, and what better, obviously, than Wales. So yeah, happy to see him obviously there. But when you look at their squad, it doesn't fill me with a lot of, I guess, like, hype. I mean, the only players obviously who come into the conversation is Louis Rees-Zammit, but again, he's one of the injured players. I think he was going to be available. I think back, he might miss the first 2 rounds, but I think he's trying to be available. I think for that England game in the third round, to what I hear. So yeah, it'll be a notable loss for the first 2 opening games, because of course Wales do play. I believe they play. I'm trying to get off my team. They play Scotland away and they play Ireland at home. So that's 2 big games for them. So that could be a big miss essentially. But when you look at Wales, however, I mean, like, what they have a decent squad. I mean, they had the one Welsh player called Chris Twinsia. He's been playing very well for Exeter Chiefs at the moment, and he can definitely fit within that 8 slot. I mean, they are missing the likes of Navidi as well in terms of the injury list. I don't think they've got any more players. They're missing. Gareth Holmstrom, of course. Yeah, the shoulder injury he got against Australia. So yeah, he's definitely going to be out. But I believe that's probably the notable ones, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, look, Wales have a very decent squad, but I just don't think. I think it's going to take them time to develop. And when I look even further into this, the Rugby World Cup, which obviously is later this year, it's going to be very difficult for them to, I guess I don't know, improve, if that makes sense. I know Warren Gatland obviously has been. It should be quicker for him to obviously understand Wales' situation, obviously being a previous coach for theirs, and probably the most successful coach, to be perfectly honest. But I don't know. I just have a funny feeling they're not going to do as well this year. I mean, look, I could be completely wrong. They're going to win the Six Nations maybe, but it's just one of those where I don't know. I just have a funny feeling they may not do it. So for that reason, I actually am to put them as not your year. I just don't think it's their year. I don't think they'll bottle it, but I just don't think they'll go ahead of England or Scotland. But look, I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. Gosh, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. Anyway, we'll move on. Italy, it's just one of those situations where, unfortunately, I actually think I would have actually put them in not your year if it wasn't for the injury list which they have, because I was really impressed by Italy, I'd say, last year, guys. I was really impressed. I mean, they got some notable wins, obviously, in the Six Nations. And then the one win against Wales was just great, obviously, with Ange Caputo getting that, run Yeah, geez, it was a good game now. But again, they also beat the Wallabies within the Autumn Nations as well. So yeah, there's some good wins overall. But look, if I have to be completely honest, when I look at Italy's fixture list as well as the injuries they have, I mean, starting off with the injuries, I mean, look, Italy's injuries, it's pretty devastating because they don't have Garbisi, if I'm not mistaken, because he just won't be available for, I think, maybe the first 3 rounds. But in that case, like I said within the previous video I made, Tommy Allen, of course, Tommaso Allen, will obviously cover him for the first 3 rounds. He has been playing pretty well for Harlequins. So yeah, maybe that kind of, I guess, balances it out. But again, Garbisi is just another level, and obviously there's a lot of potential under his belt. So yeah, it's unfortunate he'll miss the first 3 rounds because that's definitely crucial towards how well Italy do in the first place. But again, I'm trying to think of other notable names. I mean, they do have what's his name? Jake Peredri actually back, if I'm not mistaken, which would be very great to see. Actually, that's probably the one interesting I think aspect which I'm really fascinated to watch how he plays, because again, he hasn't played rugby in a long time, guys. I mean, he had an injury back what was it, 2021, I think it was. So he hasn't played international rugby in a long time, guys. So he's definitely the one that I said to keep out for, and definitely the one to watch player, I'd say, for Italy, in my opinion. I mean, again, I could have given that towards their captain, of course, with Lamano, but I don't know. I want to see how Jack Pledry does when he has his chance. So I'm gonna definitely watch a few games of Italy's just to see how they do. But yeah, look, if I have to be completely honest, I'm gonna have to say Italy will bottle it. I gotta say they'll bottle it. It's just one of those. Again, bottle it is maybe a harsh term, but I just mean that they just won't do as well as the other teams, in my opinion. So I think that's kind of the fair reflection of where Italy may be within Six Nations. But yeah, we're now down to the last two guys. France and Ireland. Well, we'll start with France. France are definitely in a great position, obviously being the previous Six Nations champions. They were just sensational last year, and they'll be looking obviously to carry that on. But I won't be critical of them, to be perfectly honest. When you look at their injuries, first of all, they are missing a very big player in terms of Cameron Walkie, as well as Jonathan Dante, and both of them are definitely starters for France. So it's going to be very difficult for them to kind of, I guess, replace them. But at the same time, they have a lot of depth in that position. So it's kind of, it won't be as effective. But again, it would have been better to have. I mean, Walkie is like such a great player, by the way, guys. He is such a great player. I mean, I would have him for my team any day of the week. I mean, he's young. He's just great. I mean, he's versatile in the sense where he can play 6 if needed. Yes, it's really unfortunate not to have him, but hopefully, obviously, he's available in time for this for the World Cup later on this year. But yeah, it's just a big loss because he's definitely a crucial player, I'd say, for France. But when we look at the ones to watch players, I mean, you can't go past Anthony Dupont. I mean, it's just he is the one to watch player. It's hands down him. There's not even a question about who else would be in that conversation. I mean, look, I can give if I think. Not think about Anthony Dupont, I'd then obviously go towards maybe like Melvin Janame or maybe like Roman Antimac, or I'm trying to think Ficou as well. I mean, Ficou is very good for France. But yeah, it has to be Anthony Dupont. I mean, there's no I don't even have to say why. It's just Anthony Dupont. But yeah, look, if I'm being completely honest, then when I look at their France's fixture list, however, I don't think it's in their favor as much as it should, because look, they do face Italy away, which is actually a good thing for them, but then they face Ireland at away again. So they have 2 away fixtures to start off with, and it's against Ireland in the second round, which is arguably the game which will decide the Six Nations, in my opinion. So yeah, it's definitely not going to be in their favor. Again, they are facing Scotland and I believe Wales at home, but again, they have to face England away as well. So yeah, it's just I don't think the fixtures are in their favor this year. So and that's kind of the reason why I'm edging towards Ireland being the champion. And it's the reason why I am going to put them at champion, I think. And I'll just do it now just to show you guys why I believe that. Because when you look at Ireland, guys, I mean, they have been incredible. They were incredible, by the way, throughout 2022. Obviously, beating the All Blacks in New Zealand was just an incredible feat to start off with. But then they continued that form, obviously going into the Autumn Nations. And they were just incredible. Obviously, beating, I believe they beat the Wallabies, Box. Did they play New Zealand? I don't think so. But they had some very good performances throughout. So yeah, I think you gotta stick with them, just going off their form. And look, when you look at their injury list, I don't think they have as many injuries compared to the following teams I have listed. I mean, look, they do have like believe, like, I think Henschel's probably the most notable one. I think that's really the only injury I can think about, because I think it's to do something with his wrist, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, other than that, I think Ireland in a very good spot. I mean, obviously Sexton's in a very good situation at the moment. This will probably be his last year, I'd say, of rugby. So and this will be his last Six Nations. So he's gonna try to make it count for sure. So yeah, just very excited to see how he gets along, of course. And yeah, I mean, under Andy Farrell, I mean, he's arguably I think he was coach of the year definitely last year. He was just great. Yeah, Ireland just have a great team, guys. I mean, they like what World Player of the Year, Josh Van der Fleer. They got Jack Conan. They got Jamison Gibson Park. Aki. I mean, they got Mac Hansen. Mac Hansen had a great. Oh gosh, there's so many good players to rely on, and of course you can't forget Furlong. Furlong's great, but yeah, look, overall, I just think they have a great side, guys. And when you're looking at the depth, I think France probably have the best depth. But if you're talking about a starting 11, I think Ireland have the best starting 11. So for that reason, I happen to put Ireland as my champions for the Six Nations. But yeah, anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys agree with me or not? Again, I want to see you guys comment. Let me know if you guys agree. Let me know who you think will be, I guess, the champion. And let me know. I mean, look, if I could say a best player and a young player, I'll give you guys my prediction, and I may even look back at this later on. So I'm gonna say the best player of the Six Nations. I'm gonna give it towards Johnny Sexton. I just think he's gonna continue that form. And then if I say young player of the Six Nations, I'm gonna say who do I think could stand out? I'm gonna say Chris Achunzia. I'm gonna say for Wales. I mean, Achunzia. I'm gonna go Ben Healy's. Yeah, I'm gonna say Chris Achunzia for Wales. I think he's gonna be my young player of the Six Nations. So that's my prediction, but we'll see if that happens or not. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you, everyone who watched, of course. And yeah, we'll leave it there. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a sticker. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flicker.